Alnwick test route. 1st of April 2025, 10:24. Subscribe! Feel free to subscribe. It is free. Original audio not recorded for data protection reasons, which we didn't. I'm sat in the back on this one because the client decided that I needed to be sat in the back. I'm not a big fan of it. It sometimes puts people off, but I'm sat in the back. Hello everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm a driving instructor. Rare Alnwick driving test. I don't normally book these. Normally these are done by people who are doing driving tests. I'm not a big fan, unless you're up near Amble or maybe Acklington, somewhere like that, Felton, then yeah, book Alnwick. If you're further south, if you're in Morpeth, there's not much chance of getting anything out of doing Alnwick. You may as well go and do Blythe, or even better still, go and do Gosforth, to be completely honest. The roads in Alnwick tend to be a little bit odd. Bit of a tight squeeze through there, following the road. Now, this particular person didn't pass, and I will explain why as we go around. That's why I'm kind of doing the voiceover with additional cats in the background, just for added effect. Also, if you've got your tasty beverage, get your tasty beverage out, because this is only short. It's only like 34 minutes because the client goes the wrong way. It was supposed to be sat-nav and ended up being follow the signs, and actually is a valid test route. It's just the client decided that they went the wrong way. So we've come out of the test centre, pretty easy, pretty straightforward, just a couple of right turns, being careful. Quite a wide road, this one. Just following it all the way down to Bond Gate, where the traffic car measure is, where the give way to priority over is. We're just following the road. Now, you don't have to be fast, remembering that pretty much nearly everywhere in Alnwick is 20. I haven't done a test in Alnwick for quite some time. There's pretty good reasons behind it. One, it's the travel time, and when you get there, if you've got somebody who doesn't really know it very well, they can get confused, because it's a bit of town driving, bit of country road, bit of dual carriageway, bit of town again. So it can be quite difficult. As we're coming up to the Bond Gate here, just being aware of these parked cars either side and aware of anybody coming towards us. We do have priority here, but some people take that risk and do come towards us. So just being careful. Then you've immediately got the crossing, and then you're back into the 30 signs. But otherwise, everywhere else in Alnwick is 20. So we're back onto the 30 bit here, and we are just going to follow the road up and along. And we were told at this point we were going to turn right, pretty much onto Wagon Way, and the client decides to turn left and effectively gets a small minor there for routine. So one of the routines wasn't quite accurate, so got a minor, picked up a minor on that corner, and you can see that it was kind of a little bit hesitant because they went the wrong way. The person hasn't failed. The person just got the minor because the routine was kind of not correct. But they haven't failed their driving test at this point. Naturally, they don't fail the driving test for quite a while, maybe about 10 minutes in. And we end up following a route that is quite an older route, but it works. Just about there, they were asked, when it is safe to do so, can you please wash and clean the rear windscreen? I did go through all of the show me tell me with this client, who decided that they would ignore the instruction. So this isn't kind of an instructor misleading a client or a pupil or a student. This is just somebody being nervous or anxious or misunderstanding what the examiner is asking. So maybe they're not listening. Maybe the planning is going a little bit, and they're traveling along this road. I'd be doing about 40, and you can see she's starting to wander left and right a little bit, and that becomes more prevalent a little bit later on in the video, or one of the fails. So we've got double white lines, no overtaking on this section over the little bridge here, and we're going to go up the hill, and we're going to effectively join the A1 and go A1 towards the south, because the examiner knows all the runoffs, all the little daft junctions and all that. I thought that the examiner might have told them to go a slightly different way here and maybe even potentially pick up the route again, but didn't. So they kind of knew which route they were going to choose, and they decided to follow the signs to Morpeth at this point, even though the sat-nav still sat on the dashboard. And you might be able to see that in the reflection. So he's saying at this point, following the signs, so she's going to turn left. She's doing 45-ish, which felt a bit quick coming in here, and then down to more or less like 10 miles an hour. Really difficult turn. Kind of not really planning ahead enough for what she needs. It's kind of very last minute. Everything with this person was very last minute. We're going to come round. Standard trumpet junction. If you're unfamiliar with trumpet junctions, then go and study them, because there are loads in Alnwick, and they are just standard trumpet junctions where they've got really short slip roads. So, checking on your right hand side, mirror signal manoeuvre, moving out into the traffic. Want to speed match it. You haven't got enough time. You haven't got. It's like joining a motorway on in the DVSA Guide to Driving the Essential Skills. Essentially, you're joining the motorway. Now, personally, the truck's going down the hill, because he's probably not on his limiter, at about 65 here. What I would have been tempted to do was maybe keep 2-3 seconds behind the truck, because he's going downhill really quickly. So we're bouncing like 70, 71 off the dial on the dashboard, and perhaps I wouldn't have overtaken. I might have just let them go, because the the examiner might be going to say, you're going to leave at the next exit. Got a minor there for not really checking on the left-hand side. The whole of the truck and the whole of the mirror signal manoeuvre. That's what you need to do there. So if you're going around things, mirror signal manoeuvre. I keep saying this. Mirror signal manoeuvre, position, speed, and look all the time. Looking for anything in that parking bay. Was there anybody coming out there? Can we check behind us? Can we check on the right-hand side? As we're climbing back up this hill, the truck that was behind us is now probably doing about 56, and being aware of it. Now we're coming up to a junction here. We've been ordered to carry on straight. We're still following the signs towards Morpeth, but we have to be aware there's that little slip road on the left-hand side to get back into Alnwick. It's another trumpet junction. We get overtaken there. We should be at this point identifying where's the hazard. The hazard is coming in from the slip road. So, because we know we've got a slip road, we've been told all the way down here, get in the right-hand side. You've got a car there, get across. He's got a signal on. He's in the hard on his brakes. Fail. Why has the client failed? Because they didn't let the car in. Now, some of you would argue that actually they should be giving way to us because they're joining the highway. But actually, the highway code does state that they're crossing the line, so they should give way to us. But the highway code should also say we should take a minimal amount of risk to reduce a collision. So you're not going to deliberately drive into that scenario where you're looking rear mirror, right mirror, let's go around. And this guy that came out of that junction actually caught us up. He's done 70 plus miles an hour there to catch us up, just to show his distrust in us. And he actually beeped us on the way past. So it was quite clear he was upset by our action. Remember when we joined like about 4 minutes ago? We could have easily just dropped in, like the truck did, just drop in the right hand side. The truck did that for us, which we eventually overtook the truck. There's nothing wrong with us doing that. There's nothing wrong with us moving out to the right to give that car that's joining some space. As you're driving along here, you've seen signs and they say Shilbottle, or they'll say Felton, or wherever else the little villages are along here. Those signs are basically saying, look, there is a parking bay, you could have somebody emerging. You need to be checking your mirrors more frequently, because this road, the A1 dual carriageway, is a bit more motorway than what people realise. It's a bit more about checking your mirrors more, being aware of your surroundings, planning ahead. Remember, if you're doing sort of 60, 65, then it's going to take you about 300, 400 metres or so to stop the car in normal braking. I'm not saying emergency. in normal braking. Emergency, theoretically, thinking time, etc., is about 100 metres, about 300 and something feet. It'll tell you in the highway code. I've got no interest in what it is. I just know it's quite a distance. 100 metres being the length of the football pitch. So in real terms, in general braking, as you're driving along at 60, I would say it's going to take you about 300 to 400 yards to stop properly. Does that make sense? So you don't want to be right up behind cars. You want to be giving them space. You want to be at sea around the cars. You don't want to tailgate them. You don't want to be less. Let's say, I know the highway code says 2 second, right? Nobody, only a fool breaks a 2 second rule. You can't. You go past a fixed object, say that line, and you shouldn't pass the same object. Now then, what's wrong with giving them 3 seconds, or even 4 seconds? And speed matching them at 4 seconds. Adaptive cruise control actually does that. So adaptive cruise control will do 3 seconds or 4 seconds, and they will do that. Now we're actually going to leave the highway. Again, we're passing these trucks, so we had the opportunity, potentially, right mirror checks, rear mirror checks. We're leaving the highway. We can feel ourselves slowing down quite a lot here. As we come up to this junction, we're going to go over to Shilbottle. We haven't quite slowed down, but you can sort of see it in the bottom left, the speed of 46 there. It's difficult to see on this screen that I'm using today, but yeah. And we're effectively getting around that corner 30 odd miles an hour, and it felt a little bit quick and it felt a little bit jarring into the 30 zone here, where we were told to stop on the left hand side. Yeah, so that was the highway drive, which was a bit crazy. So, stopping on the left there. I think he took a breath, the examiner. So we're moving off again. Remember, have a look round, blind spot checks, moving away. There's nothing wrong with avoiding the cobbles on the left-hand side and driving on the tarmac here. Absolutely fine. We're always going to turn right at this junction. Nice cup of coffee. Tasty beverage time. So, turning right, mirror signal manoeuvre again, position speed and look, thinking about how to get round, not cutting the corner. Nothing wrong with that. But remember, we've already failed because of that car. And I know that some of you think, well, that's hard, and that's harsh, or that's stupid, or you've got to remember that you're trying to reduce that risk. You should give way if it is necessary. If it is safe and necessary, you should go on the right-hand side. Still 33 here, even though the sat-nav and the car is kind of saying it's 30 on the dials. Do 30 because that's what the speed limit is along here. We're keeping it really simple, actually. We go all the way through Shilbottle, out the other side, into where Homebase car park was, and pretty much back to the test centre using the double stops. Into the National here. Right, this is vitally important, people. Listen up. This road is pretty wide. It's got a nice centre line right down it. It's a B road. What speed should you really be doing on a day like today? Well, personally, I think 40 to 45. I think that's more than adequate for getting down this road on a driving test. Maybe if you were really, really used to that road, maybe driven down it 100 times, like people get really used to roads, you might be able to go a bit quicker, depending on how good your tyres are, really. It's slow written on the road. We're coming into these corners and it felt quick. And because it felt quick, examiners kind of giving out minors for sort of planning. There's no thought into how fast to use this road. And actually climbs down to 25 because there's kind of no thought process into this country road drive. It feels very difficult. It felt in the back of the car when I was there difficult. We saw a warning triangle. What does a warning triangle mean on a hazard perception test? Well, a warning triangle is a passive hazard, something that we've got to slow down, swerve, or stop for as a result. And we get another fail here. There we go. We're in the grass. Ask yourself this question. Why weren't we more towards the right? Why weren't we thinking about what was happening? Going to traffic cam measures, 30 signs, warning triangles, hazard perception, passive hazard, slow down, swerve, instantly in the side of the verge. The thought process, the plan to do that isn't there. We have to be planning. We're going at we can see this happening from ages away, absolutely ages away. We can see that all day long, that happening. And he tells her to stop on the left. It was a bit close to the junction, if I'm completely honest. She kind of ignored him, if I'm totally honest. Very difficult, that section. Yeah, and he wanted to mark on his pad what was going on and why it was happening, and yeah, very difficult. So we're moving off again, moving back towards Shilbottle. So there's our two, and one was considered to be a dangerous, and I think the other one might have been dangerous position, because potentially you can, well, roll the car, can't you, really, if you get too far? You can lose traction. And it's picked up quite a few minors on this, by the way, mainly to do with routines. So not really thinking mirror signal, position, speed and look. Kind of, yeah. 16:47 on the clock, something like that. Difficult. Turning left. Following the road through Shilbottle. And out the other side. And one of my delightful people has just messaged me about a lesson, which I'm just going to change. Which is, it's a Saturday. I'll delete that one. Yeah, I stopped again. Put a gap in. I've got quite a few gaps at the minute, but it's because of the holiday. Easter's coming up. People cancel. And again, you've got cars that are sort of over the white line a little bit. It's not kind of their fault, but kind of is. I'm coming up to where I had my accident. Well, I didn't have it. One of my pupils did, because the bus was over the white line. Still fighting that, by the way. To pass through Shilbottle again, is it a bit quick as she goes a little bit further along? So just being careful, really. Back to that one. And we're going to take the next turning on the left. You see this fear. Sometimes you go straight on and you go back down to the railway station and that, but there wasn't a lot of point in prolonging the agony, to be fair, on this one. We'd already made two quite serious errors. I'm quite surprised it wasn't more, to be fair. Again, you're travelling down this road, you don't have to be quick. I actually think she'd started taking her time here for no real reason, sort of sticking to 40. You don't really need to go that much faster. Actually, we're already up, 41, 42. Do we need to go super fast down these? No, not really. No, we have to be in control of the car. Position is king. Speed is next. Mirror signal manoeuvre. And I might bang on about it a lot, but that's how you pass the driving test. We also did some stop starts and stuff like that, and client kind of didn't click into what examiner was asking. Difficult. Just following the road. And considering how hard it is to get driving tests at the moment, this person had driven quite well, but I just had a little bit of poor planning, and probably just passing a test might have improved it. But also, there's a little bit of in the back of your mind. Sometimes you think, not so sure, and she kind of proved that she wasn't planning by not checking that car, and I kind of said, right, we're going to have to work on this planning thing before you book another test. And it sort of fell on deaf ears, so we'll see what happens. We're coming up to the industrial area, where the fire station is and all that, and the service station is, so actually quite good. So if you're in that area, then this actually is quite a good set of services. You've got a McDonald's, which is all right, and then the shop's not too bad, the Morrison's, and you've also got a Greg's inside it, so there's plenty of choice. You get, you'll get your hot coffee and that. Oh, it's a BP, isn't it? I think it might be a Morrison's, but anyway, it's a decent sort of place to sort of stop and wait, and you can always park in the hotel if you need to as well, as you want to sit in the hotel rather than sitting up there. And there's like loads of EV charging points if you're into EVs and charging points. As we come up here, we're going to turn left back towards town centre. Now this has been massively opened. This is going to change probably into a regular roundabout soon. Quite why they didn't build a dumbbell roundabout in the first place, I don't know, but there we go. The services did come quite a lot longer after the A1. And McDonald's actually is fairly recent, sort of the last 10 years maybe. I know that Sasha would be able to answer that. So Sasha, if you're watching this, you probably not because you passed like ages ago. You'll be able to answer that. Tell me when McDonald's came along. Not forgetting that the stuff on the left-hand side, M&S and B&M's and all them, they're all brand new. These have been built in the last sort of 5-10 years. B&M's only recently opened, of course. So they're building something else on the left-hand side, and there's a Starbucks over there. So, yeah, the roundabout is kind of an afterthought, really. But hopefully it should improve traffic flow. We're going to turn right into Homebase, as I said earlier, and we do a reverse into Bay. Actually kind of nails it, gets on with it, does what she needs to do, kind of follows the routine, follows the plan. Not much to add about this reverse into the Bay, other than it's done correctly. Yeah, well, we'll put the cameras on and put the rear camera on. You can judge for yourself, I guess. Continuing my tasty beverage. Let's have a little look. Right. And we're just waiting to get into a Bay, really. Yeah, kind of have a look round, flick the car across. And we're picking that one that's kind of right behind us. So lining it up and reversing it into the Bay. Quite a simple little reverse, really. Seeing the Bay down the side of the car, really. There's not much to say about reversing a Bay. I wish I could say more, but I can't, because reversing into a Bay is a little bit unique sometimes to the car, and sometimes a little bit unique to what's happening around you, and it kind of unique to the way that it's taught. And reversing into Bay can be notoriously difficult or incredibly well put together, depending on how well thought through it is. And it's just keeping your nerve. And she's opened the door there and just checked the lines, and she's in the Bay, but I think she got a minor for observation, something like that. Very little time left on this, like 8 minutes, something like that, coming up to 8 minutes. Yeah, there's not much to add other than that we leave the car park. It's pretty slow on this corner. I don't know why she was pretty slow, but she was. And we get back to the roundabout, turn right all the way up, remembering that the speed limit does change again back to 20. And we go up Swansfield Park and things like that. And we're just getting up to the top. There we go. And we're going to turn right. Third exit. DOS. Mirror signal maneuver. Moving back to the left. Kind of in the middle of that a little bit, maybe. A little bit of positional there again. Into the 20, just there. I want to do 20 and a 20 all the way through this. Rugby club on the left-hand side. There's the rugby club entrance. And the cricket club's further round. Coming up to this roundabout, we're going straight on second exit, and the examiner does say straight on second exit. The thing is, it's slightly offset to the right, as we can see from the angle of the houses on the opposite side. So having a look to the right, making sure it's nice and safe, and sticking to the right. You don't need to go all the way over to the left, and you can actually see the road where it's worn off a little bit, where everybody else has driven. So you want rear mirror, left signal, exit roundabout, watch the cars ahead of you, stop a decent distance off the car that's on the left hand side, don't challenge anybody, and potentially a meet and greet there situation where she just could have let the car go. It wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference. Just let the car go. It doesn't, no point challenging it. All the way along Wagon Way, all the way up to the edge of the shop, and go up Swansfield Park Road. So again, getting a little bit of meet and greet, being aware of what's happening. Red Driving School just going past. Going past the crossing, so again, another hazard, planning ahead. Anybody crossing, having a look across left and right. Moving up. I think they're going to change the signs on the crossing soon, but don't quote me on that. And we're going to take the next turning on the left, up the hill. Very careful when you go around that corner. There's a post on the corner, you can hit it quite easily. Again, bit of meet and greet, let the red car go. It makes no odds. You're not going to force them to reverse about 25 car lengths. Have a look and see what's happening. Now, the examiner has said we are going to stop on the left-hand side in a safe position about a car length away. Forget about the driveways, stop on the left. The idea being it's going to be an angled start. And she really doesn't do this very well. I'm pretty sure she caught the curb there, by the way. But I don't think it got marked because he would have said at the end. I didn't actually see the report on this. I don't know what happened. I think it was set to the client's email address, so I don't know. And anybody who's got that motion sickness feeling, you'll get it just there because it felt like we rolled backwards and we didn't. So, angled start, moving off, looking at the car ahead coming towards us, just being aware of it. We don't need to immediately get too far left. Going all the way up the hill, past the actual park, which is on the right and the left. So there's a big field on the left, big park on the right. Just through this entrance. I think it's on the left-hand side, just this entrance. The big park, just there. Keep meaning to go back to it, actually. All the way up the hill. Now, you can do hill starts, especially manuals. So if you've got a manual, practice your hill start. I'm obviously automatic. We've got hill start assist in this car. So, yep, it's fine. All the way up. You always get this red car on the corner. We're going to turn right. It's a very closed junction, so I'd absolutely 100% stop at the line. And we're going to follow the road, and that's my belly saying it's hungry. Sorry about that. Oh, hello. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Stop it. As well as the cat and my belly and my brew. Coffee will be cold now. 30 minutes in. And you're travelling along here. Make sure you can get through to the next gap. Also, it's a good idea just there, just to be on the left-hand side, just so you can see a little bit further around that corner, even if it does mean moving your position all the time. Mirror checking, quite slow, 12, 14 miles an hour, something like that. Not too quick down here. Second gear for anybody who's driving manual. Have a look all the way past this car. Have a look all the way down this road, making sure that you have the skill and the ability, if you need to stop on the left. Just about there as well, getting in the left-hand side, just to look all the way down these cars to see the stop. If anybody's coming, you wait behind this white car. Going all the way down to the crossroads, which is the stop. Into the crossroads, stop sign, closed, very closed junction. That's why it's got a stop on it. So you get all the way up and stop. Literally stop. There we go, stopped. Could have stopped maybe a fraction longer. A little bit of peep and creep, but we're definitely stopped there now anyway. That one turned in. We go across. All the way up. And we're going to turn right back towards the test centre. Now we do get a bus on this corner, but the bus isn't coming our way because it can't fit. But consider this. If there's a bus going from right to left, and it's a big bus, there's a fair chance there's nothing coming from the left-hand side because it doesn't fit down the road. So what you find is people stop quite a long way up and wait for the bus to come through. So it sort of blocks the road, the bus here. So the road on the left is kind of blocked, but you still need to peep and creep because something like a bike might still come round, or a motorbike or anything. So just being careful on there. All the way along, all the way back to Roxborough Place, back to the doors of the driving test centre. Taking a left. And going into the bay. There's a bit of cars moving around here, and it was difficult to see, but there is a car there that's just moved just there. Can you see it? Yeah, there we go. And he just waits. So we waited as well. There wasn't any interaction there. It's just being aware of it. Sunday wait and go out on the next test in the Mini. So that was about it. Yeah, that was the end of that driving test. One dangerous, one serious, I think. Quite a few minors. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Put stuff in the comments. My pupil Donna's sat in that car. Hello Donna, if you're about. Yeah. Happy driving, I guess. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.